General Motors making a big electric car expansion in China, hoping to have better luck there than here because GM sold only 302 all-electric Chevy Volts in the month of August. But it is still doubling down on the model. This, of course, is in step with the president's green agenda. And, of course, GM owes the White House because of the bailout. Automotive analyst Lauren Fick says, one thing's for certain, the White House is pushing these kinds of projects hard. Well, Lauren, thank you for coming in. The White House claims, no, we're not interfering with management decisions in GM. Does this prove that claim is false?
Well, I think that there's obviously some sort of relationship going on with China. They need to sell cars, and the largest market right now for cars is in China.
But let me just stop you. You're not answering the question.
Okay.
The White House claims they're hands-off management at GM, but clearly GM is pushing a business agenda that doesn't seem to make sense unless you're an Obama official.
Right. The truth is there is someone in every single brand at General Motors. I know people. I was just talking to them today. There are people in every single brand, and they are slightly involved, as they say. But the truth is the only reason they're selling these cars is because they need to get profits because they got CAFE standards pushing from one side, which they're pushing within their own company. And so now we've got high CAFE standards. We need to cut the cost of battery cars so more people will buy them. How do we do that? We sell more. How do we do that? We create a relationship with China, and they have no choice because China is saying, fine, you can sell in our country under our rules, but they're putting heavy pressure on them. So this relationship is sort of being forced from both directions, not just the Chinese government in need of battery-powered cars, but our government pushing this green agenda, and people aren't buying the cars.
So
the results are in the sales.
So short answer to my original question was yes.
Yeah.
The White House is pushing GM in this direction.
I would say yes.
All right. Is there something wrong with that? We see in Solyndra the idea of when the government tries to make business decisions, it fails miserably, and it costs us a lot of money as a result. Will the same happen here?
I think it's going to hopefully lower the cost of cars, but the truth is it's going to cost us somehow, somewhere, because the government's trying to find some way to cover all these debts and this continual flow of cash coming out, and they've got to come up with it somewhere. So they're going to nail us one way or the other. With battery-powered cars, they're going to start nailing them on mileage taxes. They're starting to do it in some states, and you're going to start seeing that roll out as these battery-powered cars become more popular under pressure from the government.
Now, is this deal with China just about manufacturing cheaper electric cars, or is it also about expanding sales in China?
It's also about expanding sales in China. It's the largest market. They don't want to be dependent on foreign oil. Plus, they have a pollution problem.
I was just going to say, though, here is the irony of ironies. The administration is pushing this, something they say they're not doing, on GM for a cleaner environment, for their green agenda. Electric cars, guess how China gets their electricity? By some of the dirtiest coal plants in the world.
Right.
Everybody, Al Gore would tell you that the dirtiest coal plants to create electricity in the world are in China. Right. So in order to power these cars, we're going to have more pollution in China, which affects the entire globe, if you believe Al Gore's. So it totally counters their original notion of the green agenda itself, right?
Absolutely, and that's one of the things I've always said. You know, when we think about these things, the government's so short-sighted that they end up pushing their agenda, not realizing the impact down the road, which the next administration will be forced to swallow because, again, you pass it on to the next generation. It's certainly a lot easier than taking on the responsibility.
Ethanol.
Just like ethanol.
And ethanol, you know, they're big on these CAFE standards. Get the miles per gallon down. What does ethanol do to MPG?
Oh, now you're right into my area here because I have a real issue with ethanol. Number one, ethanol is actually allowing the oil producers to produce gasoline at 3 octane levels less than what it should be. So when you're buying 87, you're really buying 84 with ethanol, which brings it up 3 points. And the reality of it all is the moisture that's in your gas tank draws the ethanol to the bottom of the tank, which then you're running pure ethanol, wrecks your emission systems, your fuel systems.
So it gums up your whole car engine, and at the end, you're getting less miles per gallon.
Right, and you're paying for it at the pump and in the maintenance that's going to be happening to your car, both in engine detonation, because the gas that's left is 84 octane. So the bottom line is the consumer pays, the oil producers luck out by having to produce fuel at a lesser octane rating, and the corn subsidies that everyone's making out but the consumer.
Doesn't it make you mad?
It makes me irritated beyond belief.
What are we going to do?
I don't know. I think it has to do with the administration. If they change administration, you know everything will change. But there's pressure coming from the oil companies. They want ethanol because it saves them money.
Well, and the farmers do.
Yeah, farmers want it.
In fact, we have a Republican, Charles Grassley, who's a big ethanol supporter. So it's not just the Democrats, Republicans thing.
Yeah.
But the fact is that it gums up the works. The ethanol does. The electric car companies a mess. Every time the government tries to direct companies to do what the government wants them to do, it gets screwed up.
Right. The government should not be involved in the auto industry at all. I've been posting that everywhere. I'm really big on that. As soon as they get their fingers in, It wrecks everything.
Lauren
We
Fix,
pay
what a
for it.
pleasure. Please come back.
Thank you
Be
very
a
much.
regular. Be a
I'd
scoreboard
love
regular.
it.